Thank you. And this topic is a very important topic for our company. Basically, we are a 10 gigabit Ethernet company. We are always on the lookout what's next for us. And basically, I'm going to go through maybe two options and the pros and cons of those two options, and also talk about IEEE process of getting the next generation Ethernet standardized and how long it will take. And that's what I'm going to go through today. If you look at Ethernet, it has always doubled. It's always gone up by 10 times every time. So if you take that history as any kind of indicator, 100 gig is the logical choice. But also Ethernet has been borrowing a lot of technology from other technologies like SONET. If that's an indicator, maybe 40 gigabit is a possible choice. Obviously, the pros of 40 gigabit Ethernet are Ethernet can borrow a lot of technology from SONET. It can leverage off all the OAF efforts in terms of SPI 5 and SFI 5.0 and SFI 5.2, all these different interfaces for framers and Macs. We can borrow all those technologies and get quickly into 40 gigabit Ethernet. And the packet processing time per packet in 40 gigabit will be around 16 or 17 nanoseconds, and which is kind of achievable at 90 nanometer process technology using ASIC and stuff. So it's a little bit simpler problem in compared to the other one. And the cons of 40 gigabit is it's not significant performance improvement for the system vendors to do so much work. So that's the cons of 40 gigabit Ethernet. So as I said, historically the logical step is 100 gigabit per Ethernet, 100 gigabit with the next logical step. And from a system vendor's point of view, a lot of the components in a system, they are agnostic to the line speed. Basically, in a system we have the backplane, the switch fabric, traffic manager, and packet processor, MAC, and optics. The first three components, the backplane, switch fabric, and traffic manager, they could be designed with line interface speed agnostic behavior. As long as you can do 100 gig throughput in your backplane, it doesn't matter whether multiple 40 gig or 100 gig. So your system vendor can design such that he is agnostic for a significant part of his design, whether it's 100 gig or 40 gig. So that's basically the packet processing component, the MAC component is the most difficult part for the line interface side. Other than that, everything else can be designed with line interface agnostic, in a line interface agnostic way. So as a system vendor, we believe that getting 10x performance with significant more, not so significant more effort would be the ideal choice for us. And also the cost-wise, 100 gig can be more palatable than a 40 gig long term. The cons today is it's very difficult to implement 100 gig packet processing. It is like 6.72 nanoseconds per packet, which is very, very difficult, and it takes wide data paths and very, very high-speed memories to do the packet processing. Basically, the packet editing and lookup and table management, those kind of stuff. And a lot of work needs to happen in the optics side. Another important cons is it's very difficult to do a 100 gig chipset for packet processing and also use it for 10 gig and be price competitive in 10 gig per port price. So that's the important cons that we are concerned about doing 100 gig chipsets. So now I'm going to go through what does it take in IEEE to get an interface standardized. This is one of the standards for Ethernet for the first mile. It took almost 4 years to get standardized. And actually, the 10 gigabit Ethernet took 2.5 to 3 years to get standardized, which happened in 2002. Most of the work will happen in the study group and in the task force. For 100 gig, it would take a longer time because there's a lot of optical work has to be done. But for 40 gig, it won't be that long. So most of the effort will happen in the study group and in the task force part of the standardization process. Excuse me. So I think whatever Ethernet, whatever standard has happened in Ethernet has proven to be pretty successful in the market. What we think is if you choose 100 gig or 40 gig, the standardization time will be a little bit different for 40 gig versus 100 gig, maybe 1 or 2 years. But still, by the time it gets mass adoption, maybe 40 gig will be 6 years from now, and 100 gig will be 8 years from now. So basically, by the time it becomes very reasonably cheap, it will take 8 years to get there for 100 gig. So maybe 40 gig may be a little bit shorter than that. So I think as users of switches and routers, we would recommend the audience to basically start talking to system vendors about next generation Ethernet solutions, and also heavily get involved in IEEE. So basically, an 8.3 member can start a call for interest that would drive what would be the next generation of Ethernet. That's what I have. Any questions?
Hello?
Yeah.
Tony Lee, Cisco. What's the big deal here? Doing 100 is not going to be that hard. We've got a lot of 40 gig slots already shipping. This is not...
I think it takes a lot of effort to standardize things. And when you put that effort, you put onto the right one so that you don't have to do it again and again.
Well, last I heard, this community is generally very accepting of things and aren't even really standardized as long as it works.
I think it won't be cheaper if you go that route, I think. To get it cheaper, you need to standardize it.
This stuff isn't going to be cheaper because there's not going to be broad acceptance of vast numbers of 40 gig and 100 gig interfaces across the enterprise market space. So you're looking already at a fairly esoteric product.
I cannot hear you.
It's esoteric. It's a niche. So it's not going. This is not going to be a cheap little thingy anyhow.
I think for a lot of system companies to be involved, I think it has to have enough acceptance by standards committees. Otherwise, you cannot have interoperable solutions, and even I think a lot of people who buy the equipment won't be comfortable buying from a very esoteric solution. Yeah.
Well, yes, we need to have something that works, but that doesn't mean it has to go through IEEE.
I think we are not against doing 40 gig. If that's what our customers demand, we will do that. But we will also try to get whatever we are doing standardized.
So let's make use of the facility here. How many people are interested in 40 gig Ethernet?
You're asking about...
And how many people here are interested in 100 gig? Okay, so we have a market. Next.
Okay, thank you.
Mike Hughes, Links. More of a comment than a question. 40 gig Ethernet is just a waste of time. Absolutely waste of time. You can do 40 gig now using trunks. You use trunk 10 gig Ethernet. The cost of fiber, certainly in London, means I don't even have to go out and buy CWDM Zen packs. I can just go and rent fiber, and I will do a 40 gig trunk, and it will work. Mostly, as long as I don't have load balancing issues. And if I talk to nice people like your company, you'll go and make those go away by implementing a sensible load hashing algorithm. So 40 gig is a waste of time. We need 100, and I think I need it before 2013.
With all due respect to the previous comment, there are many people out there who would like to have 40 gig delivered in a extremely economical fashion, delivered over a single fiber. And there are many ways of making that happen, to be sure. We just need to pick one.
Hi, Igor with Yahoo. Actually, if you guys had 100 gig that was ready to ship today, we'd be ready to buy it today.
What do you say?
If you guys had 100 gig that was ready to ship today, we'd be buying them today.
Okay, good.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you.